This is Minecraft News for Adults. Today you can see I'm continuing to work on Perfect Base 4. You can see I've done a little bit of work since the last video. Once I get to the end of this little corridor here, I'm going to see these trees. I'm going to cut these trees down, and then I'm going to cut out the space to put down the sandstone walls that are going to be the outside walls of the Perfect Base. So getting right down to it, if you think that darker and grittier equals more mature, then get out of here. Go. Now that they're gone, I want to talk about the Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program. This is a $22 million program by the U.S. government to investigate anomalous space threats. It was pushed by then Senator Harry Reid back in 2007. It was canceled in 2012, but it's in the news because of a guy named Luis Elizondo. Elizondo claims he was the guy who ran the program for 10 years. He resigned this year and went public because he said that not enough was being done to look into anomalous space threats. I mean, he thinks it's aliens. And his new company, To the Stars Academy of Arts and Scientists, or TSAS, is going to be continuing his work. Elizondo is officially listed as a Pentagon official with an intelligence background, but there's no listed organization. It's entirely possible that he is an incredulous, experienced spy who's seen some shit and wants to prepare the country. It's also possible that he's a credulous middle management lifer that couldn't be fired from his government job, but was briefly relegated to busy work before going private. Also, Harry Reid's bill, it was pushed by Robert Bigelow, a true believer in aliens and a major donor to Reid. His company, Bigelow Aerospace, got awarded the contracts the bill funded. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Reid said the contracts were legally awarded to the best bidder. It's frustrating that alien idiots are seizing on this the same way GMO idiots seize on GMO labeling. If there's no investigation, they claim that there's a cover-up. If there is, they claim it's proof that their beliefs are justified. If there are things in the skies that can outperform our warplanes, we should look into it. TSAS has released tapes from U.S. military planes showing just those things. That's worth looking into. But to sensationalize it, to wrap it up in claims about aliens sans evidence, and to say there's a warehouse in Nevada with unknown metals when Scientific American didn't break a sweat calling out that bullshit. Unknown metal. Just read the article. It's linked below. To peddle aliens to the American public instead of a national security blind spot. It's entirely more likely that humans who live right over there, and they're being Earth, have just done something really clever, and we should know about that. That bullshit is the reason why reasonable programs like the Advanced Aviation Threat ID program get canceled. That work needs to be done, and if someone cared, really fucking cared, they wouldn't sensationalize it or obfuscate it with unsupported conjecture. To the Stars Academy of Arts and Sciences has a donation link at the top of their page, and as of writing, they have already collected $2 million. Mesh networks. So last week the FCC rolled back regulations governing internet neutrality, regulations which had been in place since the 90s. Promptly, the internet service providers who'd been pushing for this change so they could charge you more for the same services and block sites dedicated to reinstituting net neutrality, pulled their posted commitments to net neutrality. There are some alternatives though. VPNs are one. VPNs allow you to connect to the VPN's website. Then, as you request data from other sites, the VPN requests it on your behalf and sends it to you. You never have to directly access any sites beyond theirs, and your ISP can't really stop it, although they can stop your access to the VPN. VPNs are also kind of slow because you're adding another step in the process of sending data requests and transferring data back. That speed hit hurts gamers the hardest, and I'm sure ISPs do have an interest in throttling gaming so they can charge gamers more for faster, more reliable connections. So I'm not sure what the solution is for them, but then gaming isn't the vital social necessity we think of when talking about the importance of the internet. Sorry? Another solution is mesh networks. Mesh is a network of machines connected by a set of small radio transmitters. They form a small network, but if one part of it can connect to the internet, the rest can connect through that part. After Hurricane Sandy, New York's Red Hook neighborhood used a mesh network to connect the area to the internet via satellite. An organization called NYC Mesh has recently paid for independent internet access outside of an ISP, but that is expensive, which is why most folks pay ISPs to manage their internet connection. Mesh slows down with each node a signal is routed through, and it's generally a local network solution. Its primary benefit is the ability to bypass centralized control and monitoring, but it is a good alternative, and local internets can be part of a solution to keep the internet, or at least some of it, free. Neighborhoods could start making their own local ISPs to connect to the internet, but it's absurd and inefficient. Communities should have efficient public utility internet access operated for the good of everyone. But until they commit to that, it's up to you to find your own best solution. Alright, so this editorial, America is not yet lost. It's garbage. I mean, look, President Trump is a shambling pile of feces who fills up a novelty jack-o'-lantern garbage bag, but this sounds like the salvering of Tea Partiers during Obama's term. I mean, every day he proves himself utterly unfit for office. Fuck off. Look, one of those racist neural networks raised on Twitter would be a better commander-in-chief than him, but dial it back. There's a few days where he doesn't embarrass the nation, move to eliminate those who oppose him solely because they oppose him, or use the power of the country to enrich himself. There's a couple days in there. I vote we make the pink pussy hat the symbol of our delivery from evil. You know the pink pussy symbol is fine. Get a pin, a button, a patch, and slap that pussy on it as a symbol of resistance. That sounds great. But delivery from evil? Jesus fucking Christ. Are chill pills covered under the New York Times health plan? Perspective-inducing glasses? Evil. Wow. Put the pins down and walk outside. Morally bankrupt and fascistic, immensely powerful and so privileged as to hold, even in the president's golden years, a childlike ignorance of the consequences of that power. But evil? Does Paul fucking Krugman have shitty movies he pitches to stake down coworkers in comic shops? Because, Jesus. Integrating the voting record of Republican Senator John McCain into your morally collapsing conservatives narrative is panic-inducing for this pile of alarmist pap, but John McCain was never part of the resistance to either the segment of Americans who love democracy but think democracy would be better if only their political allies could vote, or their flabby fast food-powered maidenhead. It's almost as though conservative senators generally vote for conservative policies, and liberals just don't like that. He only won because the Russian government knew he was the worst choice for America and lied hard on his behalf, and a sliver of American voters fell for it. Yeah, they won't impeach or convict him. It is up to the American people to change that in 2018, but the game is definitely rigged. My gigantic gay brain is capable of remembering when people of good conscience were outraged by the president's similar assertion that the entire game was rigged against him. That mealy-mouthed, unbased accusation which served primarily, as its primary function, to undermine and supply pretext for a lack of faith in our democratic system. I remember being outraged by it, and I am still outraged by it. And I'm kind of outraged by this bullshit. It's a talking point straight from the guys who are being paid to split the country in half. Jesus Christ. Vote. Vote, people, but calm the fuck down. If you're liberal and believe you're the reasonable half of America right now, act reasonably. The Orval. The last episode of The Orval's first season went up, and I think I'm done. It was a Prime Directive episode where Kelly crashes on a planet and she tries to observe a simple culture, but then a kid falls down and she heals the kid's head, and the planet vanishes for 11 days, and when it reappears, it's aged 700 years, and there's a Kelly religion, and they're forbidden from further interference, but they do it anyway to help Kelly undo the damage she did because there's a whole Kelly religion now. But after 11 days later, the planet has advanced another 700 years, and there's still a Kelly religion, which has spawned wars and corruption, all kinds of other problems. So, after a final 700-year jump, the civilization reappears, and their civilization's on the same level as that of the Orval. They gave up the Kelly worship on their own, and everything's cool because apparently religious strife is universal, and Kelly's only contribution was the Kelly flavoring to that strife. It was stupid for Kelly to wander off and observe a primitive culture in a bright blue apron, and it was completely unnecessary for her to heal some kid's random ass forehead cut. Even then, like, her contributions are so small that it makes no sense that her effects would resonate so deeply. Jesus spent a couple of freaking years wandering around and doing stuff and, riding into cities on mules. Yeah, okay, language of television, but the slang is getting so thick, I don't want to be in this conversation anymore. I mean, I'll admit that is a nitpick, but the crew defies orders to try to fix everything Kelly screwed up, so Kelly won't feel bad about the bad decisions she made when she defied orders. TLDR, Kelly broke policy and bad things happen, so everyone decides to break policy. These people have the retention abilities of a fucking whiteboard. Violating orders is only effective in a narrative if there are consequences for it. The comparisons to Star Trek are freaking obvious. Kirk sacrificed his career for Spock in Star Trek 3. In Amok Time, he explicitly defies orders and is only spared the consequences because T'Pau requested it. The Vulcan government goes, yeah, Spock would have totally died if Kirk hadn't done what he did. And Starfleet's like, oh, okay. In A Private Little War, Kirk violates standing orders because his on-the-scene knowledge provides a way to get the mission done. I don't want to talk about his later orders to arm his friends and therefore start a war on the planet. It's more debatable, but the Orval crew are determined to just keep digging until they dig a hole clear through the fucking planet. The resolution also treats the development of societies as some inevitable cookie-cutter bullshit. But the deal is that the Union has thousands of ships and probably forms policy based on, probably some big picture information from those thousands of data points. That is literally what policy is for. That Kelly's actions are irrelevant is the purest form of the Voyager trademark cop-out where everything's okay because nothing matters and the sun will eventually eat Earth. No one is wrong because nothing matters isn't a valuable fucking life lesson. It is literally the subtitle for Moral Relativism's fucking autobiography. Amateurs do what's in their heart, and that's the right thing. Not anything like facts, reasons, or expert opinions. It's their Care Bears-esque goddamn feeling that if something is nice to do, it must be the right thing. It's the third time this season these people have just openly, blatantly defied orders and suffered no consequences because it all worked out in the end. It is a fascinating idea at the core of it, but it is such bullshit in the execution. The Ed and Kelly relationship at least gets put to bed, and in a way where no one gets to bed, thank God, so that's good. I just hope the second season gets its shit together. You guys let me know, because I'm not fucking bothering with it. Disco Comics. I'm a pretty cheap guy. I buy a lot of comics out of the discount bin. This is Disco Comics. Turns out I had issue 8 of 8 from last week's Burning Fields. So as an update, it's still mediocre, and in a form where you can do almost anything, mediocrity sucks. It sucks. This week is Mantle. I've got issues 1 and 5. Not 1 through 5, just 1 and 5. It's written and lettered by Ed Brisson, art by Brian Level. I sighed heavily at the end of page 7, and I just wrote this script as I read it, because how could I possibly give a fuck? Mantle knows it wants to get to the point, but you can't condense its flabby story. Making the character driving the plot your POV character is laborious. And even though I'm writing this while recognizing the explosion on the next page from the corner of my eye, it's just not moving quickly enough. The twist at the end of issue 1 is satisfactory, but the nature of the beast says I'll be reading about someone new by issue 5. But, I was wrong. What's Her Name is still alive in issue 5, and drugs are for winners and morality is for wusses, because sometimes bad guys are only bad because they want to die. Jesus, it's unbelievably bland and shitty. Why couldn't Plague have just flown himself into the sun? Actually, I feel confident shitting on this thing from the first and last issue, which I didn't know when I bought it. That's just a coincidence. So maybe I can't bitch about plot holes, which might have been patched in issues 2 through 4. It's just a few plain... it's just a few good twists and nothing else. Good representation, I guess. But even the shittiest book should have good representation as a given. So there's that at least. They nailed the basics. Acceptable grammar, realistic portrayal of human bodies, 4 diverse women. Diverse in terms of personalities. C-, and honestly, guys, get a better story. Anyway, here I am. I'm just going to try to dig out this path. I think I dug around the outside of the wall, which is going to be another step. I need to dig down to the wall, and then I need to dig out from the wall. Otherwise, the wall's going to be flush with the ground, and it won't act as a wall so much. So I kind of mixed up those steps there, but whatever. The step I'm going to perform now is the dig down to the wall, and then after I actually lay down the probably thousands of sandstone bricks, which you're going to be here for, buddy. After I lay down those thousands of bricks, I am going to cut down and out from the wall. Because I didn't do step 1 consistently. Some of that's already been done by me. But, whatever. It's the nature of Minecraft. You just do steps, repeat steps and processes. I wouldn't mind something a little quicker, something between, say, a command block and, just doing everything by hand. But whatever. Alright, it's getting late, and I think I'm past the 15-minute mark. But, anyway, I'm going to get the last of these little items I got to get, and then I'm probably going to pack it up for the day. If you guys have any comments, get me on @VanVelding. Until I get a good sign-off.